Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Severna Bills here. Today's video is a little different and a bit special because one of my first videos, my third one, just passed 20,000 views on YouTube. That's a huge milestone for me, and I just want to say thank you. Whether you're brand new here or you've been following my laser engraving journey from the start, I really appreciate every single one of you. So to celebrate, I thought we would do something fun and also helpful. Over the past few months, I've gotten tons of great questions from folks on Facebook and YouTube about laser engraving these photos and images on canvases. What kind of canvas I use, how I paint it, what settings work, how to get good results, you name it. So instead of answering them one by one, I asked my wife, hey, can you help me out? Just read these questions off to me and I can answer everything in one place. And if you're already engraving or just thinking about getting into Canvas, I think you will find this super useful. So let's go back inside, get closer to that computer. Let's see if we find Mrs. Builds there somewhere and get started. All right. All right. That wasn't too bad. We found Mrs. Builds, believe it or not. But we're going to start with a check, mic 1, mic 2. Good afternoon from New Hampshire. How you doing, Harvey? Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, whatever you guys might be at. We're kind of, doing this a bit of a ad hoc, type of just having a little fun here. We are celebrating, and it's a huge milestone for me, for the missus. Hey Paul, how you doing? Hey Paul, thank you so much for keeping me straight there. As far as the invite goes, I'm going to blame Canva, and we're just gonna leave it like that. But thank you so much for being here. As we were perusing through, YouTube, all of a sudden the wife says, "Hey, did you notice that one of your first videos is got 20,000 views?" And it didn't click with me. It absolutely it's just it makes no sense. So through this kind of news, we're trying to assimilate what it means, and it's just incredible because 6 months ago, none of this was even part of the parlance. Views, YouTube, all this stuff, live streams, simply because we were just not thinking like that. So as we decided to come online and celebrate, we thought, listen, why don't we just do it a little bit different? Instead of just yapping and just testing the equipment, we do something good. We give back to all those kind people that have been following me on Facebook or been watching the videos. And we come up and answer some questions related to canvas engraving. I've received in the last 6 months a ton of love, a ton of support, and a ton of questions. And those questions started to repeat. And I thought, listen, Mrs. Kloss, Mrs. Builds, if you don't mind reading those off, and I'll do my best to answer them. Maybe we have an evening together, while the little one is sleeping, and we have fun with the folks that joined the live stream. So, what do you think of that idea? And by the way, we're testing the equipment. I think is very echoey sometimes. So, you guys, please forgive us. We are learning with you. Thank you so much. The missus is a little nervous. She still doesn't want to turn on the camera, but maybe she'll turn the microphone just to say hello.
Yeah, thank you for words, and we can you hear me now? Hello.
Technical difficulties there. All right. Well, she says hello. She gives her best.
Hello.
Right. So this is the video that we were talking about. The third video, right? Third video that we uploaded, 20,000 views. And like I said, this was not something that we set out to do. This is just something that's totally surprising us. It's huge. But why don't we start with some of the questions?
Yeah, let's go into it and dive into it. So let's start with the first question. How did you get into laser engraving?
How did I get into laser engraving? Right. Laser engraving was something that was not part of my awareness as an individual. I've been in IT for the last almost 30 years. During COVID, I decided to get busy with some hobbies and trying to get some stuff done. And as I did that, I started buying equipment, buying machines, and then I bought a laser engraver, 5 watt. I'm not gonna say the brand so they don't get free advertisement, but you'll see some of the pictures here. A 5 watt machine that the point of that machine was to work with my CNC. I was making cutting boards, as you do. And the point of that machine was to help me with the engraving. Well, soon enough, I found out that not going to be able to do much of anything, not quick anyway. And I saw online people doing reviews, XTOOL this, XTOOL that, and finally the XTOOL S1 showed up. That one got my attention because of the price. It was attainable. To be honest with you, I was looking at the P2, and that one, money wise, that's a little more than I was able to afford at the time, or that I was willing to afford. I had shell out some pretty good cash for the CNC, and yeah, but the S1 started to engrave all sorts of crazy things, started to cut all sorts of crazy things. Yeah, I was trying to learn a little more, and I saw someone on Facebook. They had a picture of this lion in color, and they said they did it with an S1. Now this one is not the same. I don't think so. I put the example image there just because I would hate to call out someone for something they didn't do, whether positive or negative. I saw this similar image and I'm thinking, I did not know that a laser could do this. Now, the person that posted it, I noticed they were talking about the S1. And I'm thinking, wow, that there's no way because the math wasn't mathing. But as I said, it got my attention. I went to YouTube. I found this guy, The Edge of Tech. Great channel, by the way. Lots of solid content. And that's when the light bulb basically went off. And I started testing and working on my own technique. You see the picture at the bottom there. Those were my first two canvases that I started painting, and fell in love with it. And yeah, went back to the garage, experimented, kept messing up a lot. Eventually, I felt pretty comfortable. As I started uploading my results to Facebook, I didn't expect a whole lot. Maybe a like from a friend, but people were incredibly kind and they really liked the engravings. And then the questions started to roll in. One day, the wife just casually said, "Hey, you should upload a video showing how you do this." I wasn't really sure. I didn't really want that level of exposure. I was a little concerned that people at work were going to find me and see me. And, I didn't want to show that side of me. So, but then again, who's going to watch this stuff? Fast forward 6 months, we got over 3,200 subscribers. That's the story. What else we got?
Yeah. Um, let's go into another question that we received. Do you need a special kind of canvas? How do you prep it?
Right. Special canvas, and how do I prep it, just in case you guys could not hear. When I first got started, I bought this stretch canvases, the ones with the wooden frames, at my local hardware store. They worked really well at first, but I ended up with the batch that were not really that good. A lot of bumps, a lot of imperfections. The frames were all over the place. So, and also they're a little bulkier. So as you start storing them, I have a small shop. I start running out of space pretty quick, not because of that, but everything else. Just every little thing adds. And to be honest with you, these ones were more expensive. Yeah, they started adding up pretty quick. So, decided I'm gonna go with something else. And right next to the frames, the stretch canvases, they got the panels, same brand, still 100% cotton, just thinner and frameless. And so they're easier to store. Of course, they cost less, and I didn't have the same issues as with the frame ones. I really liked the way that the engravings are done on the stretch ones. I feel like that thin material with no backing, I got better results. Then what I do, I blow some air or just wipe it clean, just quick, and then I go straight to painting. I mean, as far as that prep, that's the work I do basically. What is the next one? What if I mess up? Right, I do mess up quite often. That happens very often. But before we go into that one, let me just answer Paul's question here. Do you ever see that the paint on the scratch canvases sometimes cracks? Yes. And because when I got started, I couldn't stop. I was painting at 11 o'clock at night. I was engraving in the winter, not minding the temp, not minding the humidity or lack of, and a couple of times flakes and cracks. Here on the next slide, what is that click? I really need to change glasses here, Mrs. Claus. So this one is one. I don't feel like I messed up, but Paul, to answer your question on picture number one, that's Cooper, our beagle. He's still a good boy, right? He's sleeping there somewhere, as he does 99% of the time. That painting didn't come out as good as I wanted, and it was kind of flaky when it came to the finish. That one, I was really, really hurting. And Paul, I don't know if it was you, but I was talking to someone else about repurposing, and I was encouraged to just try. And as I saw Cooper there, not as good of an engraving as I hope, I thought I'll take it and just do something different with it. So that was canvas number two that you see there in the bottom. I went a little crazy with the colors. I wanted to see what I could get out of it, and I put a lot of layers of different paint, and it came out all right. It came out all right. It's just that yeah, the colors were just not quite there, and the canvas again, the paint was not like sticking as good as I hope. So that's attempt number two, and then attempt number three. That is the same canvas, just repurposed, reused. Now that canvas, Paul, the lines that you see, those are the cracks that showed up overnight. I don't know if I didn't let it cure long enough or just by then, one, two, three, four. So by then, I think there were like 12 layers of paint that I put by then, maybe 15, because I went fancy with some of this colors. But still, I mean, even with the lines, even with the cracks, this is my favorite engraving. I got lucky. I don't know how much more this canvas could have taken. A part of me says that you can just put an infinite number of layers simply because if you tweak your settings just right and you do your measurement, your focusing, it will just peel off those layers that you through the computer will tell it. But it was starting to get pretty thick. Yes, when it came out, I was just so happy because I wasn't expecting anything out of that thing. I think 4 times would probably be pushing it. I would say twice is the sweet spot. But again, this guy came out just right. So if the problem was something like a bad contrast or wrong settings and there's no physical damage to the canvas, I've seen some videos where people actually burn through it. Or if there is any major like warping of sorts, I say it's pretty safe to just start over and paint again.
So let's go towards another question. Can this technique work on other materials?
Can this technique work on other materials? Wood, MDF, stone? Yes. After a few engravings, I'm not the brightest guy around, but I figured it's layers of paint and then the laser comes and peels off based on your settings the amount of paint that it needs to, because it's inverted and you're doing black at the end and you're doing from light colors to dark colors. I figured why not try on different mediums. So from canvases, I think I moved to MDF right away. And then, which is not listed here, I just noticed. I also tried it with plywood and, of course, with stone. And yeah, it worked out great. But each material, of course, will need its own prep just to get good results. The overall idea is still the same. You paint, put the layers, right? You engrave, and then eventually you will reveal. But the difference how you prep the surfaces, because it will make a difference. For example, for MDF, I always start by sanding it lightly, but sanding it, right? And then I apply primer. MDF is notorious for soaking up paint. So if you don't do that, you'll be there painting and going over different layers. So that worked out really good. With plywood, you got to give it a quick sanding, mostly to get rid of some of those splinters or rough patches. I started with kind of like rough plywood. So, some of that glue was coming through. You had some splinters. So I just went ahead and started sanding it just lightly. And then again, paint, dry, and engrave. With stone, well, that was a little bit trickier. I had this coaster, slate coasters, and I start painting them, testing them with the same pictures that I had tested the other materials. I uploaded some of those pictures, and I did not know this. I guess it caused a bit of a, not controversy, but there's some people that are strong supporters of keeping the stones as natural as possible. So there I was, all happy with, I think, my elephant. You see it in the picture there, in the cat, and I uploaded it, and I received a lot of negative comments like, "What did you do? You ruined the stone. The absorption of the liquid is going to be all messed up. The water will run off. Et cetera, et cetera. Is gonna get damaged quicker." But we liked it. The missus liked them, and we never really used them. We got them, there uh, as a display, but
Decoration.
like a decoration. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So if you're planning to sell some of this stuff or gift some of the stones specifically, just you, you've been warned, right? Not everyone is going to love it, and the fact that you cover it in paint might not be welcome by everyone. Next question:
All right. Can a 5-watt laser do this?
Can a 5-watt laser do this? Being that I owned a 5-watt laser, I'm going to tell you that yes, yes. The only difference is going to be that it's going to be a little slow. This particular laser, again, I'm not going to say the brand, but you can read it there. This particular laser did okay. The quality of the engraving wasn't that great. I have both modules for that particular model of engraver, but it has its limits. A 5-watt diode laser can engrave canvases if you got the right image and everything else painted, and you got your speed and power settings dialed in, but just don't expect it to be like super fast, or the details to be ultra fine, because it's just not going to be able to do it. But I think is a great way to start. We got our baby boy here, Cooper, crying. I don't know if you guys can hear him. Yeah, I'll pick up a question here from Paul. Paul is asking me what software did I use. I use Lightburn with this one. Again, I was a diehard fan of Lightburn. I'm still a diehard fan of Lightburn, but XCS has gotten much better. There's some times that I need to go back to Lightburn when some of the images need a little more tweaking, or I'm playing with vectoring a little more in detail. But I find myself going back to Lightburn less and less and sticking with XCS. This is not paid advertisement. I have no connections with XTOOL other than being a customer, but it has changed the way that I do things. So yeah, thank you, Paul. Credit should go where the credit's due, and those guys, I think they know what they're doing. The X Tool folks, I think they really got it. They really got it down. Right? Is it hard on the laser? Oh, there she is. She's back. I went ahead without you. Is it hard on the laser and can it damage it? Not really. I mean, engraving on the painted canvases is actually pretty okay on the laser, pretty gentle compared to, I'd say, cutting wood or those machines that can cut acrylic. I think this laser engraving is minimum when it comes to being able to hurt the machine. That said, you just got to make sure that you got a couple of things in your process. After a few engravings, some of these engravings can take 1 hour, hour and change. So after a few hours, I recommend getting in there. The picture there in the middle was only, I say that was like 3, 4 engravings. Now, part of my process, I tend to do 2 passes, right? So overall, and with the air assist on, the dust wasn't so bad. But I have a picture, and the only reason why I didn't show the other picture was because the colors were really washed. I let it run for maybe 4, 5 larger engravings, and the dust was caking on the side there of the laser. The picture on the left, that's the exhaust in the back of the S1. And that picture I took a week ago when I was doing my maintenance, deep maintenance, because I do the regular maintenance on the module, but I went deep on the rails. I went deep on the base. Of course, I took the honeycomb out. Made a video also, guys. If you want to check it out, is there. But that exhaust in the back, it was very difficult to remove because all that dust was caked in, and all that dust is burnt paint. I have an inline exhaust that I bought from XTOOL as well, but even then, you got all that stuff. So my recommendation is just making it a habit to clean your machine. I would say every 4 engravings, 5 engravings, get there, clean it up. Maybe once a month, get in the back and check your exhaust. Of course, your mileage might vary. It's like I think I was telling you, it's like changing oil in your car. Just like routine maintenance will keep you straight. You know what I mean? Paul said that Lightburn is his nemesis, and I hated XES. I was thinking, what is this? At the beginning when I first got the machine. Mrs. Builds, you're back. What else you got for us?
Uh, Here's another question.
Yeah.
If you recommend XTOOL.
Do I recommend XTOOL? Right. Again, this is not a paid advertisement. I'm a small potatoes. I'm just a user, a customer. But I had to say, yeah, I'm very happy with my S1. I think it's very user friendly. But yeah, I mean, it's well thought out. So yeah, I've actually, like I said, made a video of my honest review after a full year. If you're thinking about getting a machine as far as a laser, I in the video I said the same thing. If you want to start with a cheaper machine, with a machine that is a little slower. As a matter of fact, today I was talking to someone about purchasing the XTOOL S1, but the 20 watt. What I told that person was, yes, the 20 watt can do exactly what my 40 watt can do. The only thing is that it's a little slower. The power is not there, of course, in comparison to the 40 watt. But if money is not so much of an issue, or you can save a little more, get up to that next level 40 watt. Because once you start going in different routes, doing different things, I think the gentleman was saying, "Hey, I just want to do some keychains. I want to engrave some boards or something like that." I'm not sure exactly, but I told him, once you start going down the path of finding new things to do, you're gonna start wishing for, why didn't I just buy the next thing? Why didn't I just get the next thing? Jokingly, I said, I've found myself in that situation a few times in my life. Why didn't I get the better car? Why didn't I buy that? The bigger computer, or why didn't I go to a better university? I could have just done those things. So I learned to cry once. But again, get the machine that fits your workflow, your budget, which is very important nowadays, right? But I can tell you that XTOOL has worked great for me, and um, it just makes sense. So I will recommend it. As a matter of fact, a few people have bought a few machines based on the fact that they wanted to start engraving canvases. I felt a bit responsible, a bit of the weight on the shoulders, but I know those people are gonna be happy with that machine. So yeah, so I would totally recommend it. You know, it's a great value. They're easy to work with. Support is great. In one of the videos, I had said that I will leave the links for those end caps that you put to protect the laser. You know, so you got this little end caps, right? But I went to their website and I couldn't find them, and I was like, for the life of me, I know that I saw this caps, safety caps, and I went to Amazon and I found, some, you know, no name, no brand caps, but the reviews were pretty awful, and I felt like I cannot put this, in good faith. Then you buy 12 of them for $15, and then you come back to me and you will complain. So I went and start doing something else, and I completely forgot to add that link. And then someone called me out in the comments of the video, or that maintenance video, and the guy says, "Hey, you said you were going to put the link to the caps. Where is it?" And I'm like, "Oh my goodness, what do I do now?" I email XTOOL support. 6 o'clock in the morning, I'm emailing XTOOL support. 6 o'clock of my morning. God knows what time it's over there where they are. Midday, they replied to me and they basically told me, "Hey, listen, these are compatibles with the D1, with the M1. Here's the link. Thank you. Let me know if I can do anything else." And I'm like, "Okay." Check the link. Yeah, the OEM end caps, they match all those laser engravers. So and there you go. It was an easy kind of answer for them, but they could have just say, "Who are you?" Because I say, "Hey, listen, I uploaded a video and I forgot to include the link because I couldn't find the stuff." But they replied very nice, very kind, and that was it. So I've seen them replying to people on the Facebook groups for XTOOL Facebook groups. I think they're doing okay. Anyway,
How big of a picture can you do?
right. Well, that all depends on the size of the machine, what you can fit on that. Um, what's called enclosure. An open frame will allow you to kind of fit a little more, right? If you got the S1 with the riser bed and that little pass-through thing that you use for the conveyor belt, which, by the way, I found out it wasn't available here in Europe for some reason. But yeah, it's just a matter of what you can fit in the bed of the. I don't remember the size of the bed of the S1, but here's the thing too. I mean, even if I could fit something bigger, some of my engravings already take 1 hour. With that second pass, it might take another 30 minutes. It comes down pretty much to how long you want to stand in front of the machine. Personally, I try to balance the size and that engraving time. If it's going to take several hours, I guess I would really need to love that image, or know someone that will really, really love that image, to kind of, dedicate that amount of time. Alrighty, what else you got?
What kind of paint do you use?
What kind of paint? So the next banner,
Painting. How many
painting.
layers
Hey,
do you apply? Yes.
you sure that's what kind of no, what kind of paint do you use? I got it. Yeah. So what kind of paint do I use? To be honest with you, this is a little bit of a situation because I had this rack there packed with paint because I was doing some other stuff with MDF. Like I said, I was building other things. I was making little trinkets with the previous laser, and nothing special. Big box stuff. Just, for other projects, I picked up acrylic. So nothing major, nothing fancy, just a big box place spray acrylic matte, not glossy. That glossy stuff got pretty stinky, pretty smoky. So I learned pretty quick. I guess in the States, Rust-Oleum or that Krylon or whatever you have in Menards or Home Depot. Not need for anything fancy. What was the question? Can you highlight it again? Because I missed it. With a conveyor, you can only do up to 3 and 1/8 thick material. Yeah. See, I'm still a little sore about that whole um, conveyor thing. But for the life of me, I'm just thinking I don't want to sit there for more than 1 hour. My ankle, my back, my elbow, my shoulder, everything hurts. So no, I don't partake on larger ones. But yeah, I'm a little sore about that one, Harvey. What else you got there, Miss? Layers. Well, I told you guys a little earlier, my standard process, start with 2 coats of white, followed by, whatever colors in the middle and a coat of black. 2 coats, keep your I did it for the frame ones, for the frame canvas, primarily because 2 coats will give you an extra layer. If I'm inverting a color image, I'll add whatever color I need in between the white and the black. I keep it light when it comes to the spraying, to the layers, and I let the picture dictate the colors, of course. So, for example, in the microphone one, the one with the cracks, I went with white, then 2 coats of white, 1 coat of yellow. I think I did red, and then I did black. So that was for that one. When I'm working on black and white photos, I usually do 2 coats of white. You can argue with me whether it's necessary or not. I got used to doing it, and I feel a little more protected with that extra layer of white coat. But when I'm working with black and whites, right? So 2 coats of white, 1 coat of I do gray or anthracite or gray, right? Light gray or dark gray, whatever. And then I do a coat of black. The gray layer is total personal preference. People say it's not necessary. Some people say that openly, but I feel like it softens those midtones if I can get artistic here. And I had already a lot of gray paint there, so I was like, what am I gonna do with this stuff? So I thought it gave it like a nice feel to it. Next one.
How long do you wait for the paint to dry?
Right. That's a huge one too. I mean, again, there are many variables, but I feel like this is one of those that you really, really can't rush. I wait at least a couple of hours, a couple of hours between the coats. I guess if it's a little more humid outside, I wait a little longer. I just read the labels, and most of the manufacturers will tell you right then and there, how long to wait. Some of them will make you go to their website. For the most part, I tend to wait around 2 hours, 4 hours. If I have a break, I run to the garage, do 1 layer, wait a couple hours, check it again, and then eventually when I get all my coats in, I let it sit overnight. I just let it cure. That's my process, giving me pretty consistent results too, and I feel that that is a huge help to avoid those flakings and those cracks. What else?
Another one? Green sauce?
So my technique, right? Just like the picture says, light passes. I keep a nice distance, right? So um, I'd say 10 to 12 inches. Somebody once told me, "Hey, just get your standard can of paint and just put the bottom of it close to the surface and calculate that the top of that can will be the necessary, 20 centimeters or whatever it is." 10, 12 inches away from it. And I just do, left to right, up and down. I I may have taken something out of your kitchen.
I know that.
That lazy Susan that you were not using. You said you were gonna make cakes. I don't know what it was.
Yeah.
But then, I had to use it. I was gonna build one myself, but then I saw that one doing nothing. I took it out of the box, took it to the garage, and for like 10 months, I was using it for different things, and so I use that to rotate it, so I just keep up and down, left or right, and when you have that, you don't have to worry about the up and down or left or right so much. And also I avoid pulling that stuff, so it can get out of hand. So I have like a pretty consistent wrist movement now where I know exactly what and how much to stay in one position. And then of course I work in a pretty ventilated area, and then of course turn your can upside down, spray it a couple of times, and that will clean the nozzle, and you can just store it so you can use it next time. Next one.
How do you decide what colors to use?
Well, that's like I said earlier, that's basically dictated by the picture that I'm using. If I'm using a black and white picture, I go with gray, white, and black, or black, gray, and white, right? From light to dark. If I have a black and white picture, I'm not gonna use red necessarily, but I keep it pretty simple. You give me a black and white picture, I use black and white with that gray in the middle. If you give me a color like our Lord and Savior there, yeah, that was I was using just to get that copper tone. I used the white, of course, to start. Then I use red, and then I use brown, and then I use black. And then for the microphone, like I said, I used white, yellow, brown, red, and black, or red, brown, and black. I don't remember exactly, but yeah, the picture definitely is what dictates the color. And just remember, you got to go from light to dark, and I guess just have fun with the process, experiment. You might end up with something really cool and neat. I really love that Jesus one. I made another one of that Jesus from the Rio. Is it the Rio Jesus or Sao Paulo Jesus? I don't remember. Rio Jesus? Yeah. That turned out really, really, really good. So I really like that one. So you can end up with some vintage looks, super cool vibes. So experiment. I guess it's all about your mood and what kind of tickles you, right? Alrighty.
Where do you get your pictures?
Where do I get my pictures? Yes, of course. People love. I was gonna have to mention them. I get them from Creative Fabrica. I was getting from some other websites, but I didn't like the inconsistency of some of this stuff, and I felt kind of weird sometimes not knowing where some of this stuff were coming from. The only thing is that nowadays they're getting a little flooded with a lot of AI images. But if you go through the filtering, you can filter for non AI, you can filter for black and white photos only, and you can fit also I don't know if the DPI or the dimensions. So they're making it really easy. And again, I don't use them just for the engravings. I was buying a lot of stuff through Etsy, and not a tremendous expense. As I think some of the most expensive stuff were those package deals that I was getting for Christmas to engrave, like Christmas decorations or for Halloween or whatever. And I was paying like $10 or $7, or some of those designs you pay $2. But with Creative Fabrica, you pay once a yearly amount, and then you get fonts, you get pictures, you get SVGs or whatever other files you get for whatever project you're working on. So yeah, that's my go-to place. What else?
I see Paul has a question.
All right, show me.
Do you spray specific areas or do you spray the whole canvas?
Yeah. So I don't know if you recall. I'm gonna get lost, but let's see. So this one is the Creative Fabrica one, right? So I'm gonna go back in time here, right? See if I can go here. Here, this bad boy here, picture number 2. I went and got a little fancy. I sprayed, where I thought the sun was going to be utilized better. I sprayed where the sea was supposed to be a little darker. So I went a little darker. And then I went with the black. Of course, that was my last layer, and that purple or pink. So I did spot paintings for those. I did a painting for a horse, one of my first horses, also colored, and I also spot painted. It worked out all right, I suppose. I don't know necessarily if there is much of an advantage versus. I mean, I guess you're not spending that much paint. I guess that's an advantage. But the machine, I don't know if it will understand it differently. I like the way it turned out. Again, this picture number 2 here, I did it like that. I liked it. I think I went just a little crazy with the settings. I think I went a little too hot. And then what I did by mistake, I think I did a second pass, and that second pass just completely ended up, deleting or removing a lot of that paint. So yes, I've done it. But pictures work best, right? High DPI, good contrast, focused, good quality images. The main thing is that I totally recommend doing black and white to start. Putting the time there, learning with black and whites, then you can move on to colors. 300 DPI, yeah, just a clear, focused, good contrast, and the machine is gonna love you for that. You get too fancy with a little blurries, or not so clear defined colors, or too many colors, you're probably going to end up with something that's not going to be to your liking. You see that turtle up in the top? I've seen that turtle on Facebook a few times. I challenge everyone that is listening here and my future viewers of this video also. I challenge you to get that one done and show me your results. It's also in one of my tests. I tried to do it myself, and I did something that I was putting the colors in different layers via the software. We're gonna talk software here in a second, but even then it was challenging. I use Affinity Photo and Affinity Designer too, and even then it was a challenge. So yeah, those are the pictures that I feel work the best.
Can I just use a photo from my phone?
Can I use a photo from my phone? Yes, you can. But again, if you have an older phone, and I mean older phone 5 years ago, they're still going to do quite all right. If you got a newer iPhone or a newer Samsung Galaxy or whatever, of course you can. But again, keep in mind the same thing: good contrast, good quality, in focus, and you'll get a pretty good picture. And again, black and white. If you can go back to black and white, start with black and white rather. That's the way to do it.
Next one. Do I need special software?
To get this done, no, not necessary. As I said, I use Lightburn. I've used XTOOL. I use Affinity. Now, Affinity is the cheaper version of your Photoshop. I bought it for other projects. The same thing with Lightburn, but Lightburn and XCS, I feel, is all you need. You can go and use some of those open source online, and I've seen a lot of people doing a lot of tweaking. But what I do with my pictures, because again, I follow the same kind of recipe I'm giving you guys. I get good quality, focused image, start with black and white, that kind of stuff. That the editing is minimum. I bring it into XCS. If it's too big, I try to shrink it, or if I want to cut a specific area just to fit just right in my canvas, because I measure the canvas, right? So then I build this little box that mimics the canvas, and then I put my picture inside just to see what areas of that picture are going to look better. Within XCS, I go in, I size it, I cut it to whatever size I need. I then edit the picture, and all I do is just the contrast, bring it as size I can. I think 50 is a max. And then I tweak the grayscale a little bit. If there is a picture that I really like and then it needs more work, I use Affinity, but that's almost never the case. I use XCS. Again, it's got everything I need there for what I need. I'm sure some fancier designers do something a little extra for their pictures. Well, will fancy designers be doing this laser engravings? I don't know. They might, but I don't use anything else other than the four things that are here. And the reason I just brought out Canva, that bottom one there is Canva. I don't know if you'll be able to see it better if I move there, but I'm gonna remove the question there so you can see it a little better. That is Canva, and the reason why I brought it up is because Canva now owns Affinity. Yeah, great stuff. Great. I have a ton of fun there working with that software. Right. What else you got? All right. Well, again, yeah, I only use XCS, so I don't do much editing of the pictures beyond what I explained. I just resize it. I might tweak it a little bit. There was one that I needed to turn a little bit, but then I just go into the contrast and then the grayscale, a little bit from the left, a little from the right, and that's about it. And then I send it through the motions.
What settings do you use?
The settings, right? That's the top question. So my settings are pretty straightforward. Listen, I'm not a big time canvas engraving manufacturing guy. I do ones and twos and threes, so I have time to dedicate, to testing and checking things. So what I do, I send it through 10 power, 200 speed, 140 and 180 LPC depending, and Bayer. That's my go-to. If there's something quick that I want to do, especially black and white, I feel pretty comfortable. I tweak those settings, but that's kind of like my baseline. Then I go to my second pass. And I guess the idea is that I kind of try to inch closer And I've done it long enough to know that often my second pass on the same type of, canvas with the same paint that I'm using for a simple picture, that second pass, I go a little lower on power. I might do 6 or 8, and then I might go, 300 on speed. And what it does, it actually brings that contrast out a little more. It cleans it up a little nicer. And you got to watch out though. A couple of things. You can't move the canvas from where you you put it when you first started engraving. If you move it, good luck putting it back and getting the engraving right on top of where it was. Good luck with that. So don't forget. I've been tempted so many times. I'm like, oh my God, what am I doing? So I keep it where it needs to be. That's number one. And then number two, sometimes with the S1 lights and the lights of my shop, sometimes I get some phantom situations in my eyes where I think the color is like this or like that, and then I panic. So I take out the flashlight from my phone and just kind of try to angle it a little better so that I can see a little better as to where I might need a little help. Those are my settings, second pass, and that's all the math that I do. Granted, I've done a lot of testing, and every time I engrave something, for example, today, I'm prepping a bunch of MDF and a couple of canvases. I always leave one MDF for testing and one canvas for testing because even I've done this many times. You never know. It's always good to run a quick test, and you cry once, I suppose, right? So those are my testing. Hey, listen, before we move on, I've seen a few comments, but I'm not 100% if there are questions there. Show the errors. Yes. This image R, I'm gonna highlight that one. Image R is good, and it's free, so it's the right price. That's one of the ones that I hear the most being brought up. Now I build a channel showing my mistakes. I tell you. All right. What else do we have? To put in the time. Some days things just fall into place and you are cooking with oil. You're engraving left and right. Everything works and is amazing. You're going to engrave the third one and something happens. Something is bound to happen. So it's not hard if you put in the time, stick with it. It's part of the process. It's as Paul says, we all learn from those mistakes. So, and I got a whole collection of them. So, right? What else you got?
How do you market or sell your canvas?
How do I market or sell my canvases? Right. So the thing with the canvases, my canvases are my babies, and I don't sell them. I've had people ask me from across the world if I'd send this canvas that way, but no, I give it to my friends. I give it to my family, people that I care about very much. But if I were to sell, I would start promoting it through Facebook. There's no question. It works. Set up an Etsy account. That's easy. Just put it there, and if it's good quality, if you build it, they will come, right? If it's good stuff, people are gonna ask you about it. Like I said, I've been asked about some of this canvases. You know that little sheep back in the back, the black and white there that in this picture. You don't know how many times people have asked me about that one. The horse behind, the same thing. Nobody has ever asked me about the microphones. Those are the ones that I really like. Yeah. But yeah, so Facebook Marketplace, Facebook groups, start uploading, start sharing in the groups. Give more than you take. So share your settings, share your process. People will be attracted to the work, and if people comment, you can tag them then later, and then you share the project, the pictures of the project, so the behind the scenes. Maybe tell the story of where that idea came from, or why you decided to do this. People just love to get that extra connection to a piece. Create that bond, create that story, create that lore behind your products, and give them away too. Go to your local library, see if they're interested in having some, those guys don't have budget to buy fancy things. So, maybe you donate some of that stuff that you create with all that love and people will flock to it. That's what I would do. Maybe I should start doing that too. But I can't. I mean, I love the way they look on my wall of fame. So it's a nice backdrop, right?
Yeah, I believe this was the last question.
Was that the last question? Hey,
And what about the tips?
if you got tips, right? Boy, test, right? Never fails. Dedicate that time to test. Check that canvas for defects, warpings. Mind the weather. Let that paint just dry. Don't rush it. Read the can. Go to the website of the manufacturer. They will tell you paint behaves completely differently depending on the seasons, the humidity, right? Again, start with black and white images. It makes it a lot easier. The quality of the pictures are hugely important, of course. And the top coat, like a lacquer, just to protect the final engraving. It will make it shine a little more. People sometimes don't care for that too much, but it's a matter of taste and preference. You can always ask. Have the picture with the lacquer and have the other one without it. And then don't be afraid to share the work, right? You never know who you will inspire too. I mean, that's another thing. This Edge of Tech gentleman or Vintauri or any of the laser guys, do they know that we exist? No. But they've done so much for me, for many of you guys. I would assume we use YouTube all the time, right? And yeah, I mean, it's not only about making that dough, right? It's about sharing your passion. And what's amazing is when you find those people that share that same passion, you think you were some crazy guy doing some crazy stuff in your garage, and then you find there's an entire community, huge groups, thousands of people in the XTOOL groups, thousands of people doing engraving, cutting, all sorts of crazy stuff. And then you thought you were alone in your garage, and you have a whole world out there, right? So don't be afraid to share your work, right? So that's about it for me. We're just happy to have you guys here, and thanks for being part of this journey, right? When I uploaded that first video, I honestly thought maybe a dozen people would see it. I never expected over 3,200 subscribers, right? 20,000 views on a single video and 1,000 more across the channel, right? When you take a look, it's just incredible. So what keeps me going is the support I get at home, right? This lovely, lovely, lovely person here next to me. All the questions that you guys send my way, and the fact that this community is full of people that are truly excited to learn new things. And it's just amazing that they come to this little corner of the internet to learn along with me. So listen, if you found this helpful, leave me a comment. Subscribe if you haven't done it. If you feel like, to share your own canvas engraving experiences, we love to see what you've made, right? Love to see what you're working on also. We love to get inspired by you, and your questions also make us think sometimes in a different way. Let us know if this was interesting, if this type of setup works for you. If you have any more questions, we can compile them and have a part two. I don't know. Maybe we'll fix your microphone and your camera, right? It's been a pleasure. It's been amazing. All right. Severna Builds out. So long. Take care, you guys. Bye bye.